What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 343, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that gives a little kickback and keeps the podcast ongoing. This week, we have a special guest with us, as you can see. Hopefully, if you're watching this, we have Jim from Home Gadget Geeks in the house. Good to see you here.
Bob, thanks for having me. Always great to be here and love what you guys do.
Yeah, and of course we have Ryan here as well. He was running around. We didn't see him on camera. He was running around. I don't know what he's doing over there.
I always try and have tabs to monitor, make sure the stream starts on Facebook and YouTube and make sure everything looks good. So that's what I was doing. I knew you and Jim were taking care of other things. So I was just running around.
Yeah. Ryan's always...
We're here now, though.
I don't know if you know Ryan all that well, but he's always last minute.
No.
Yeah, he's always, every time we have the podcast, I'm sitting here waiting for him. He comes in about a minute before we start. It's just always.
I don't think that's true, Bob. I don't think that's totally true.
It's close sometimes, but not most of the time.
But yeah, this is our Christmas episode, or I guess that's what you want to call it. We'll be going over awesome tech gifts throughout this episode. Stuff that we want, stuff that we think would be good for you guys. We're also going to talk about our reviews this week, as well as some tech news, but we're going to go through that stuff decently quickly, just because we have Jim on and we want to obviously talk about awesome goodies for Christmas. So if you guys do want to follow along with what we are going to be talking about this week, we do have our full show notes page right here that has everything that we're going to be talking about this week. And you guys can go ahead and click through and see kind of, everything that we're going to be covering. So the first thing, which we did talk about last week, and I've been using since then, and you can see it right here in front of me, is the HyperX ProCast, a new XLR microphone from HyperX. It is their first ever XLR microphone. So for those of you guys who don't know, a lot of people getting into, gaming, streaming, podcasting, they use a USB microphone. So you just plug the microphone directly into your PC and you're good to go. With an XLR microphone, which is more of like you would call it like a prosumer level product. You actually have to plug the microphone into an audio interface, and then the audio interface gets connected into your PC. And XLR is how, musicians record music. Almost all professional podcasts use XLR microphones. So HyperX is really trying to position themselves kind of in that prosumer market, and the price of this microphone definitely reflects that. So this microphone is $249, which is decently expensive considering, you can get USB microphones, like a decent USB microphone is probably around $100. Some can get up into $150 to $200 range. But this microphone is pretty crazy. Just because the build quality of this thing, it is like a piece of metal. It's not plastic. There's no plastic on this. It's built extremely, extremely well. Has the built-in shock mount, which is really nice. It doesn't come with a stand though, which is pretty weird for a microphone. I don't know, Ryan, you reviewed.
I mean, for an XLR mic, it doesn't surprise me necessarily, because you're typically going to put it onto an arm, right? Most of these like USB microphones that I review do come with a stand, because a lot of folks are just putting it on the desk, right? It's less of an investment to, hey, I can get up and running with this thing with the built-in stand. I don't need an arm, but most of the time they will come with an attachment to go to an arm. But I'm not surprised that the XLR microphone doesn't come with one, because now you're talking, you've got to have the XLR cable, like you mentioned, an audio interface to go with that. So you're already like further along in your investment, I think.
Yeah, I just think because of, again, HyperX is like a gaming centric brand.
Sure.
They would, I mean, it's nice that they have the shock mount, right? And it does come with a pop filter. But just having a stand would have been nice, I think. Again, because you're coming from the gaming market, not so much of the,
Right.
podcasting and streaming market. But it is, like I said, it's a very, very nice microphone. Extremely well built. It's one of the better quality wise microphones that I've had my hands on. It doesn't have a whole lot of features like your microphone. Are you still using the Quadcast, Brian?
No, I'm using the Wave 3 from Elgato.
But like the Quadcast has the tap to mute on the top, which is very useful. I would say if you're, you're in the middle of a match, or you're in the middle of like a stream, say somebody calls you or Jim, you could just tap the microphone to mute, answer your call, so nobody hears all your business, which is definitely to have. But this microphone doesn't have that. All you're going to get here, as you can see, there's a negative 10 dB filter that you can enable, and then there's a high pass filter, which basically helps you eliminate some outside lower frequencies. I didn't see that it made a big deal in my testing.
And this is a single polar pattern too. I think it's just a cardioid, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Microphone. So that makes it really good for doing things like voiceovers, doing things like podcasting, like we're doing right now. It would, and then again, it's for single voice type things. You're not going to be doing interviews with this because you don't want two people really having to talk into the mic at the same time. But yeah, I've been using this for 2 weeks now. I would say it sounds good. I mean, you guys are listening to me. I
think it sounds great. I mean, I haven't noticed. I noticed it a little bit last week that you sounded a little different than usual, but I think it was an improvement in the audio quality. It sounds great though.
Bob,
I think it's.
You feel comfortable with that mic? That's one of the things. You got this big piece of something in front of you and you're talking on screen. Does it feel pretty comfortable in front of you?
Yeah, I actually like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. I had the Audio-Technica AT2020 before this, which was actually a little bit smaller. Well. Yeah, a little bit smaller than this. This is pretty big, kind of right here, like in front of me. But I really like it. I like that it did come with a pop filter. The previous microphone, I had to buy a pop filter. This one comes with one, which is nice. I do like the little red accents on the shock mount as well, just something a little bit different. But I think, most podcasters, I would say, and streamers too, they all use like the Shure SM7B, which is like I would say that's the standard. Like all the big podcasts use that microphone. That microphone's about $350, and you need to buy a bunch of accessories for it too. Like you need to buy a cloud lifter, which like ups the volume on it because it doesn't, I don't know. There's all these other things. I looked into getting that mic a while back. So I think this microphone being $250 kind of sits between those type of microphones. And again, I think the quality of this microphone is great. It's a, really, really, really nice quality. I think this is going to be for somebody who already has a USB microphone and wants to get into the XLR game, right? They want to up their audio just a little bit more. And that's where this comes in. If you're just looking to do Zoom calls or even gaming and streaming just to kind of start, I think a USB microphone will suit you very well. I don't think this is that type of product for you. But again, if you've been streaming for a while, you want to up your game, maybe you're making YouTube videos, you want to up your game, or again, you're podcasting and you want to just get a little bit better quality, I think this is going to be the microphone for you. And again, I think it's priced well. It sits above like entry level XLR microphones, but I feel the quality is better. And then it sits below something like the Shure SM7B, which is the standard when it comes to microphones. And again, it doesn't have the features like the tap to mute and like the Quadcast has a bunch of different polar patterns or pickup patterns to maybe do an interview or do something like that. So you're not going to get all those features where most XLR microphones don't have those features anyways. but I think overall it's a very good microphone. If you're looking to up your audio game, it's a solid choice and it's very well built. I would say that. So I gave it a 9 out of 10. We have all of the audio samples in the review as well, comparing it to my Audio Technica, as well as all of the other dedicated microphones that we've tested in the past. So we have all those audio samples if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. So yeah, but I like it. Like I said, I mean, I've been using it. I've done a bunch of voiceovers for our social media stuff. And then obviously the podcast. So I think I'll be using it going forward. So
I was gonna say, you gonna stay with it, or do you have to send it back?
Oh no, I'll be staying with it. Like I said,
good.
I like I said, I feel the AT 2020 is good. That's pretty much like one of the standard kind of entry level XLR mics, but this just feels a little bit better. I would say it sounds a little bit better in my opinion. So yeah, I like it. I'm going to continue to use it. So yeah.
Sweet.
So go ahead and check that out in the chat. Who do we have in the chat? We have
Nelson's
Nelson
here. Yep.
Yeah.
Old man's in the chat.
Yeah.
Jim's in the chat. Yep.
Jim is here. Andy's in the chat.
Yes.
Old man asked, is there LED bling? Yeah, so no RGB lighting on this. I mean, while this is HyperX gaming brand, I think they're targeting more of like a prosumer market where RGB lighting is not, I would say, all that important. You know, they're Quadcast S. And
I mean, I do appreciate the light being on there, like, and going on and off for, you know, being live and not. I think that's a handy feature. But I think integrating it into an XLR mic adds a little bit of complexity.
Yeah, for sure. So, also, I took a look at a case this week, and
I love this thing.
It's sitting behind me. It's right there. And you guys can kind of see it in the dark there. And the reason I don't have it turned on because there's no RGB lighting on this thing. So this is Fractal Design's brand new case. This is their North. And when they pitched this to me, they said that this is the case for adults who don't want the normal gamer style case. But that's what I said. I'm an adult. They said it's the case.
Jim's the candidate for this.
Yeah, the case for millennials.
I like boring. Yeah, no, it's old people and boring maybe a little bit, but I like it.
But it actually, so it has the big feature of this case is that it actually has real wood on the front. So they have these wood slats here. On the white version, you're going to get oak. And then there's a black version of the case that will be walnut. So depending on which one you get, that's, but it's actually real wood, which is pretty cool. And again, their whole design language is kind of after Scandinavian style interior design. So if you're into that, I think this would go really well. And when I initially saw this case, the thing I immediately thought of was, I'm sure Ryan, you would agree, like a sleeper build, right? Like put a 4090 in this, or like this would be the case you would use at like a design studio or like an architecture studio where you need like a 4090 or very, to do 3D rendering and things like that. But obviously you don't want a computer with tempered glass and RGB lighting like in the middle of your office, right?
Right. Yeah, something a little more professional workstation build type of case.
Yeah, so this case is pretty simple. It does come with 2 included fans on the front of the case, 2 140s as intakes, no other fans included. As you can see, it does have the mesh side panel. You can get it in tempered glass if you want, but we got the mesh version, which I think does look a lot better. Just going to the whole aesthetic. At the top, you have room for 2 more 120 or 140 millimeter fans. And then as far as water cooling support, you can do a 360 in the front, a 240 in the top. And then on the interior, just up to ATX motherboards in here. So, not a ton of space inside, but again, it's going to support all the latest hardware. So long graphics cards like a 4090, CPU coolers up to 170 millimeters, I believe. Long power supply. So you're going to be able to fit everything. This is not a case where you're going to be able to do like extended ATX or anything like that. Up to 6 hard drives in this thing out of the box as well. Tons of, you know, cable routing holes and things like that. So building in this was extremely easy. I didn't have any issues when it came to building. In the front of the case, you do have a cutout if you did want to do water cooling, so you don't have to worry about clearance. No issues on there. It does come with a 4-fan fan hub, so you connect all your fans here, then one cable to your motherboard, so you don't have to worry about having enough fan headers on your motherboard. Everything about this case just works really well. As I said, 6 hard drives out of the box, so you have an SSD tray on the back side of the motherboard tray that supports 2 SSDs here, and then you have these 2 trays on the bottom here. Now, these trays are actually pretty cool. Typically, when we see these larger trays, they just support a single 3.5-inch hard drive. But on these ones, what they actually do is you can fit a 3.5-inch hard drive and a 2.5-inch SSD at the same time, which is pretty cool. So again, 6 hard drives out of the box, which is really good considering this is, I would say, more on the smaller size when it comes to cases. And then you can see our build here as it comes together, just super easy. I really didn't run into any issues. Incredibly simple and clean build. You know, and even on the back side of the case was able to use the included Velcro ties and some zip ties to keep everything nice and tidy. No real issues with anything. I don't think you're really going to have any issues either. If you're doing a build here, just again, it goes together quite easily, which is nice. So I really like this case. It's $129.99. Again, 2 different colors, white or the black, and then you can do tempered glass or mesh. The mesh version does come with a fan bracket that can be attached to the side of the case as well to give you more cooling. And that fan bracket supports 2 120 and 2 140 millimeter fans. So yeah, like I said, it's a different case. I would say, and we have a video on this on our YouTube as well if you guys want to check it out. But I said in that video, like, it's not for me. I don't think that, I mean, I just built a case that we showed you guys last week that's all RGB and all lights and stuff. So I wouldn't say that it's for me, but I think if you like that type of design, it's going to be a good case for you, right?
Yeah, I like the black with the walnut. I like the stain that they went with the walnut. I think that'd look really good too. But the white looks fine as well. And the fact that you've got multiple options for like the side panel. So if you want to add a little flare inside the build, because I think you could make a really nice looking build in there that's like minimal RGB, or, you know, just set it to all white or something, because all white can look really nice in a build as well.
Yeah, I think the front 2 fans, like if you replace those with RGB fans and then just made them white, I think
it'd look really good behind that, or like a gold color maybe.
Yeah,
I think that'd look really nice.
Yeah. Is this the case for you, Jim?
I'd like it. It'd work well. I still, you know, I bought that Cooler Master LAN case box. It's an older one from a couple years. I like that format because it's just easy to, you know, all the sides come off and it's easy to use. But I like the simplicity of this case. So it would be one I'd like, because, you know, I don't necessarily do all the RGB. Although now that I'm doing a new build and I'm seeing all that's available, I might be changing my mind, might be changing my tune.
Yeah, there's, like I said, it comes out at a good time because, again, and we talked about this, it's a good time to build or upgrade your PC. So
yeah, it's a great time to do that. It is a great time to do that. Yeah, right now.
Yeah, so go ahead and check out the review. I said I like the case. I think I like it, but if I was to do a build, it's just not the specific build for me, I would say. So yeah. And then Ryan, you bought some PC parts this past week.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And you went ahead and upgraded your main PC. And Ryan, before Ryan, you show us your system here.
Oh, I already popped it up here.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
That's all right.
Ryan made one of the almost a detrimental mistake, right? So Ryan's sending me pictures of him taking apart his computer, and again, as you can see, if you're watching the stream, Ryan has a water cooled PC. So in order for him to upgrade his CPU, which we'll go into, he has to drain his loop. He has to take apart, it's all hard tubing, so he has to take things apart, unplug everything, do all this stuff. So he's like, show me his progress. And then he's like, I didn't update the BIOS. And in order to use the newer CPU, he needs a new BIOS update. And he was freaking out, and he was having this like breakdown. He's like, I don't want to have to redo put it all back together just to take it all back apart again. And I had to remind him that newer motherboards have this thing called BIOS flashback, and BIOS flashback is great.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here.
Okay.
That's your perspective. No. So first off, I think we talked last week, my processor showed up and I showed off the box and everything. And I was like, hey, I'll do this at some point. And we've kind of joked about me had bought an upgraded power supply for this. And I've had it for like a year, haven't done anything with it. And Bob was just joking about how it's going to take me forever and it'll be another year before I do any of this. And I was like, maybe I'll have it for next show or something. And I wasn't planning to do that at all. But then this weekend came up and we weren't really doing anything. And it was kind of just gross weather outside. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to kick this off. It's going to take me a couple hours. Yeah. Spoiler alert. It took me like 10 hours to finish this up. I'm not even kidding. So yes, I emptied everything out and got to that point and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to update the BIOS on here. It's not going to support my new CPU, because I went back and looked and I didn't even know what BIOS I was running beforehand. So it's not like I could have been like, oh, maybe this BIOS does support this. No, I hadn't updated it in quite a while. So I was sure it wasn't going to support it no matter what. And I knew that it had some BIOS flashing options. What I didn't realize, though, is that this motherboard and a lot of the Asus boards support this, is flashing your BIOS without even a CPU in the board, right? So I got to looking, yes, mine supported that. So I went ahead and ran that process, through the flash drive into the USB port labeled for the BIOS, hit the button, let it do its thing, took about 5 to 10 minutes, and then looked successful. And I was kind of like, well, I'm only going to know if I put a CPU in here and try this. And yeah, I was either at the point of putting my old CPU back in and putting just a regular cooler on it, right? I've got a tower cooler I could put on, but then my GPU is water cooled and I wasn't about to put the fans and heat sink from the factory back onto it just to test this, to make sure the BIOS worked. So I was like, well, whatever, maybe I don't finish this today. So thankfully I put it all together, filled it up, and it came up just fine. It took a little longer that first couple boots to just let Windows do its thing and recognize, oh, hey, this is a new CPU. Hey, let's look at the BIOS, all of those things. But yes, it came back up. So that's the BIOS story. I'm good to go there on that point. But yeah, I was freaking out a little bit, and
it was funny.
Like kicking myself.
It's just funny to get those messages, and I'm just like, Ryan's doing it again.
Well, and it's like I thought of it the day before, or even earlier. I was like, all right, I gotta update the BIOS, so I'm good to go on that. Is there anything else I need to do? And I just like skipped right past it. Didn't even.
You got excited. You got excited for your new processor.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had bought the 5800X 3D, which we'll talk about a little later as well. And I had the power supply, which is a pretty easy swap out, honestly. Since it was going from one EVGA power supply to another, all the cables that are modular fit in there, no problem. So that was no big deal. But I wanted to change up the loop order, and I'm gonna get up here and let's make.
I got you.
Yeah, you want to make that primary for me?
Yeah. How do I do that?
Yeah. Can you hear me all right still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. So the loop order, and I've gone over this build in a YouTube video before, so if you want, feel free to check that out on the YouTube site. But it essentially goes from the pump over here into the back of the GPU, and my previous build would then turn this into a split loop. So it would cycle liquid through the GPU as well as the CPU at the same time. So I had an outlet from the GPU that went up to the CPU, and then I had coming from the CPU back into the GPU, and then those would go up into the first radiator. So it was like a series loop with a parallel component as well. I wanted to change that up. I wanted it to just be a full series loop. So this bend stayed the same, but I was able to cap off these two ports here. Then it goes through the top 360 millimeter radiator, then comes back down, and this is a new tube here, and this is a new tube as well. So it's kind of just does a 90-degree bend there in and out of the CPU. I think I like this look. I don't know if I like it more than the previous look, but I do like the lines of this. And then it just goes back into the other radiator, then into the reservoir and pump, and then back through the loop. But yeah, we can swap me back in, or we can. There we go. So no, it just took a while, you know. Hard tube builds take a while because it was just a constant running upstairs, because I didn't prep my room to do everything down here. So I had like my heat gun upstairs in the kitchen, and so I was going up and down the stairs to the little new bend. That one went fine. It was perfectly sized and everything. But the longer one, I kept having to like shave just a little off so that it wasn't, you know, didn't look weird or was at a weird angle, because I wanted it to match up as best as I could and have nice looking angles, right? We see all these custom builds every week on our Case Mod Friday posts, and I was like, I can't have this looking totally janky, right? I see these nice builds all the time. I want mine to look nice as well. So I need to get some custom cables in there, right? Braided cables. That'll come maybe Christmas time. But yeah, it's all done. I had one leak coming off of the
oh yeah, I remember that too. I got another frantic message from you.
Yeah, it was a picture of a paper towel sitting there with like a wet spot on it, because I think I had turned it off and gone upstairs to do something, came back down, and it was wet underneath the CPU on the paper towel. And I was like, oh my gosh. Thankfully, it was just a fitting needed to be tightened down just a little bit more. I've kept an eye on it for the last, almost week now. And I haven't seen a leak or a drip or anything. So I think we're all good now.
Ryan, your experience is exactly why I haven't used liquid cooling to date. Like, I just like, I mean, the plumbing in my house is bad enough, I don't know if I want to, I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit. But I hear stories like that, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, there's multiple levels,
Yeah, that's why I was just, because again, I just did my new build, and I was in my head, I was like, maybe I'll finally do a custom loop. I'll but I was just like, there's just too much, and if I want to change something out, I got to break it all down, and I don't. Yeah.
I mean, you can start with an AIO and then soft tubing, right? Soft tubing is a lot less exact on things, but it's the hard, and I even have some soft tubing in here. I couldn't decide how I wanted to run part of my loop, so I actually have soft tubing.
I can see that.
Top line, and then the feeder line on the bottom to the GPU is soft as well. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got it together.
We're up and running. Yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Here, so.
Yeah. So, so for anybody who didn't listen last week, you upgraded your CPU to the
3800X to the 5800X 3D. Yep.
Yeah. And have you noticed a difference at all in gaming?
So
that's the big thing.
Right. That was my main reason for purchasing it. I'm still running a 2070 Super, which is a couple generations old now. And just everything I was seeing, I wasn't ready to make the move to a 7000 series AM5 platform, new motherboard, DDR5 memory, and a CPU. I was looking at over $1,000 investment to make that jump. And with this, I was able to pick this up ahead of Black Friday sales. And I'm glad that I bought it when I did, because the CPU didn't go any cheaper than what I bought it for on sale. And I actually didn't see it on sale anywhere. So I got it for $329, I believe. So that's a nice
really good deal too.
Upgrade. But everything I read, I'd read a lot of people going from a 3800X or similar CPU to the 5800X and seeing improvements. So I've played some Apex Legends in it. Only one session. I'm interested to see how it does tonight as well. I'm not so concerned about a higher frame rate. I'm more concerned about eliminating the frame drops and lower frame rates at times. So I have a more consistently average higher frame rate across the board. So, and I feel like I have noticed that. I haven't paid too much attention to it. I was mostly monitoring temperatures because I was more interested in my loop and testing it out, making sure that it was flowing and everything was good, and I wasn't going to overheat anything, because I'd added a newer CPU in there that's known to run a little warmer than the 3800, and I had changed my loop order, so I just wanted to make sure everything was functioning well with that. So, but so far so good.
Nice. Well, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad you got your computer together, because it's never a good thing when you get like, and I've done it, like partway through a build and then something doesn't work out, and you're like, well, I need to use this computer, like. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, Jim, where you're like halfway through a build and you're like, I forgot to buy this part, or this doesn't work, or
I try not to do that anymore. Like I try to make the next computer, give it some space to put it together, test it out, do some things with it, so I'm not like, oh no, this is gonna be my production box. I can't work without it. And this most recent build has been that case as well, that I figure I got 3 or 4 weeks to kind of test it, mess around with it, put some liquid cooling on it, do some testing with it, get familiar with it. Then we'll introduce it into the environment and start moving things onto it from the other boxes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of what I did with mine, because my old system, I basically just took it out, right? Like I just moved it and then put the new one here. And if there's ever an issue, I can just like plug the old one back in. So I haven't stripped it out yet. I need to strip it out though, because this one runs really good. At least let's knock on wood for right now.
Bob, it's definitely a first world problem. Like to be able to have the privilege to have enough parts that you can kind of get that going and get it going first and not rely on it. I mean, in my younger days, I didn't have that privilege, and so you'd get something new, swap it out, and you're like, oh, I got to get this working tonight, and like Ryan says, all of a sudden it's 4 a.m.
Yeah,
you're like, I got to go to bed. Like I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I started this I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't done until 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you were going all day, because that was what day was
Saturday?
That was a Saturday. Yeah, I just kept on getting these texts from Ryan. Yeah. So we're glad you got it together.
Yeah,
and
I'm happy.
We're glad you're here podcasting with us. So
Yay.
We're talking about a case build. We are going to talk about Case Mod Friday, and this build, oh man, I really like this one. This one's from SS Mods. It's Halo by Nessa. And what's really cool about this, I'll bring up one of the main pictures here. So this is actually 2 cases that he has fused together into one. So there are 2 of the Cooler Master small form factor cases, which he's again fused into one really big case that looks like a mid tower, but it's actually again 2 cases together, Halo themed. Pretty interesting. Some pretty interesting stuff. So like the external pump here, with the you have this distro plate here, Ryan, and then he has these soft tubing runs that go around the front, which I think
those are hard tubing with some sleeving on them, actually.
Okay. Yeah, you can see them. They kind of go right here. It's a very different type of build, but I really like how it all kind of just goes together. The color, I really like the colors on this too. The green with the orange.
Yeah, with the Halo theme, you got that Master Chief orange visor and green armor there. Yeah, I love that bottom section with how those fans are
cut into it,
implemented, and he's got the radiator down at the bottom. I think this is sweet that the pump on the outside, like you said, is unique, but doesn't it looks perfect in this build. It doesn't look awkward being on the outside at all.
Very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. I think. And again, you have the screen back here. It's those
really are so cool. Popular. And I actually tried. I was thinking okay, I've got this window in the bottom of the case, which we've talked about quite a bit. I'm not a fan of the window in the power supply shrouds and cases most of the time, but screens like that, like they're utilizing, that's where I think they make sense to put them. And I was like, what can I do? Do I have a small enough screen that I could put something down there in this build? Trying to already make my complex build more complex when I'm having trouble. I'm like, how can I add more chaos to today? Right. I did not end up doing anything like that though.
Oh, well, we might not have had you on the podcast if that was the case.
Yeah. Not on this system anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, really cool build. SS Mod does great work. Probably one of my top favorite modders. And this build is part of the Cooler Master Case Mod World Series 2022. So I don't know if the voting is. I'm pretty sure the voting's over for that. But if it's not, just check out their website, because you can vote on all these, and then whoever wins gets something. But yeah, really cool build. Again, really different. And we've seen a lot of these Halo builds. Is there like I guess, what was the Halo game that came out?
I don't know. I just uninstalled it the other day, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. So it was the Halo BR game. So not the best game, but really cool build. If you guys, again, if you want to check out more, Case Mod Friday builds, just go to the website, click on articles, and then you click on Case Mod Friday. And we have, how many pages do we have? We have 54 pages of Case Mod. So if you want to go through there and kind of see what you can do with PC parts, definitely go ahead and do that. And then news this week, again, we're only going to cover really 2 stories so we can get to the Christmas stuff. But again, we just have our news section on the site. There's a ton of stuff there, updated every day if you guys want to check it out. But the big thing, and we've been talking about the RTX 4080 for a couple of weeks now, since it's really been available. And the biggest thing that we talked about was its price, right? $1,200. And we talked about it, that it was the biggest price increase for an 80 series card from NVIDIA. And it looks like there's going to be a price cut in the middle of this month for it to compete with the Radeon RX 7900 XTX and XT, really.
Yeah, because there's only $100 difference between the XT and the XTX.
Would this be like the fastest that we've seen a price cut on a GPU?
Probably, because I mean,
the card came out in November.
If it was, yeah, it's gonna be a month old, and already having a price.
Can't you do like a class action lawsuit on that or something?
I don't know. You'd be wanting to return it and buy it again, save $100 or whatever.
Yeah, we already talked about how the price was high, on this card, and with the Radeon cards coming out on, what is it, the 12th of this month. And again, at least one of those Radeon cards is going to be competitive with this card. We don't know which one, and we haven't seen the exact any performance numbers or anything. But again, the XTX is only going to be $1,000, and the XT is $900. So it's either $200 or $300 cheaper than the RTX 4080, which is $1,200. So yeah, nobody's gonna want this card. No, not a lot of people want this card now. And then with an alternative, which is cheaper, around the same performance, possibly. And again, as we talked about, you don't have to deal with the 16-pin connector or anything like that. The Radeon cards will have 8-pin PCI Express power connectors. So yeah, it
doesn't look good for
it's
NVIDIA,
just like bad news after bad news for NVIDIA.
Yes, they've just had, like you said, the 12-volt high power connection melting issues that where you want to place the blame there, I don't know. But yeah, the pricing on this, the removal of the 12 gig 4080, which we'll see in the shape of a 4070 Ti. Just one thing after another for NVIDIA. It's not great.
Yeah, it's not good. And the price has actually already been lowered in Europe. And now this isn't like the official price drop. This is just because the value of the euro compared to the US dollar has like changed dramatically. So you're actually going to get pricing. The RTX 4090 went from 1,949 euros to 1,859 euros, and the RTX 4080 went from 1,469 euros to 1,399 euros. Basically, about a 5% drop in price already. Do you think that they would bring the price down to $1,000?
I mean, I hope that they do. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't, because they'll, I don't think 1,100 is enough. but they, you know, they're going to tout, hey, we've got all of these things that AMD doesn't, right? They're going to tout their DLSS, they're going to tout RTX. And even though AMD has their versions of them, they're going to say, you know, they're going to tout everything they can to say that ours are better. Our version of doing it is better, right? But they still have to be competitive somewhat on price. I would love for them to come down to that 1,000 mark, only because that means then that the 4070 Ti is going to hopefully be in a lower price bracket as well.
Well, here's the thing is that if, just say, for instance, the 7900 XTX, $1,000.
Yep.
Say that it's 25% faster, or maybe that's too much. Maybe, say it's 15.
That's a lot.
Yeah, say it's 15% faster than the RTX 4080, right? At $200 cheaper.
Oh yeah,
I mean, who's going to buy the 4080? And I mean, 200, like $50. Yeah, you can say, oh, I want to go NVIDIA. They have, you know, all the other stuff, right? But at $200, that's such a, I mean, that's a lot of money when it comes to a PC build where you can put into other things.
There's a lot. $200 goes a long way in other areas of the build now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to see that the price may come down, considering the last 2 years, 2.5 years, the prices are up and double what MSRP is, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough.
Who knows what that number will be? But yeah, I'm excited to see how they perform against the AMD cards that are coming out.
Yeah, and then like you said, 4070 Ti coming in January. Right. It'd be interesting to see what they price that at, because again, if they drop the 4080, they're gonna have to drop the price of the expected price of the 4070 Ti, which is supposed to be $899. So,
well, I think they could get away with $899. Well, maybe not $899 if they drop it to 1,000.
Yeah,
that's why I think they may not go all the way to 1,000, so they can keep that price point at 900 for the 70 Ti. Because I doubt they're going to go to another $100 lower on that card.
Yeah,
gotcha. You kind of got to factor in the economy too, and where we go with. I mean, everything's getting soft.
Yeah.
So, you know, this could be a race to the bottom at some point. I mean, for us, I mean, I just bought a card, but I think I'll be continue to watch the market for these, because we could see a little bit of dipping as there's some competition, and then to get rid of inventory in a soft market before it gets too soft. Like, I mean, those things, I'm not saying they're gonna happen, but that could happen. This could be a good day for GPU upgrading time. Like, I mean, if you got a GPU that's a couple years old, you might want to set some alerts somewhere to make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. This summer could be ideal
really
for people buying GPUs.
Yeah. So we'll have to see kind of how all that plays out. Like I said, the Radeon cards will come out on the 12th. We'll see if we see an official price drop from NVIDIA either right before or right after. We'll obviously let you guys know. So just stay tuned for that. And then on the Radeon side, it looks like they're going to have some type of supply chain issues or inventory issues upon launch. So rumors from various sources say that there's only 10,000 made by AMD. So reference cards. There's only 10,000 reference cards for the entire EMEA region. So that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So for all of Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, only 10,000 reference cards. That's not enough by any means for the launch. So these cards, especially the XTX, it seems like they're going to be hard to get a hold of, at least at launch, right? And this has a lot to do with supply chain. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in China right now, if you're in tune with that. And then there's been, the factories have been closing down, and there's a lot of stuff going on for, and we've talked about this before, like those factories are on such if they go down for even like an hour, it's causes crazy delays that ripple throughout the market. So, we'll see. Like this might just be like a lot of launches where there's just no cards available, at least till, into the new year. Yeah. So I think at least if you're in those regions, you might want like if you're looking to get one of those cards, you might want to camp out at whatever
Or
store.
if you can pre-order or something.
Yeah, or pre-order or something, because 10,000 cards for the entire EMEA region is not a lot. It's not a lot at all. So we'll keep you guys updated on this. We'll see if, again, this is a rumor, but a lot of people are saying that's what the deal is. So yeah. So now we are getting into our Christmas stuff. So basically what we're going to do is we had 4 different categories that we're going to be going over.
And Ryan's already
sharing his stuff.
I was just trying to add it and it just threw it right on.
So 4 different categories of things either that we want for Christmas or that we think are good gifts for Christmas. So the first one that we're going to start with is one tech related item that you want for Christmas. And I'll start because I don't think anybody would guess this at all. Oh boy. So mine is this thing called...
No, I saw these and like on an ad on our site, and I looked them up last week. I was like, I want one of these so bad.
Yeah, I saw this on a YouTube video. It's called... I'm famously known for having the computer with the infinity mirror on the front. That was the in-win case I had for years. And literally, like every YouTube video I would do, nobody would care about the product I was actually reviewing. Everybody would ask me, like in the comments, like, what computer are you using? Like, what case are you using behind you? And it was always because of the infinity mirror. So there's this company called Hyperspace, and they make this cube called the Hypercube. If I can click in here, and it's basically one big infinity mirror with RGB LEDs. It looks insane in person. And you can do all this stuff, and there's an app, and it just looks super, super cool. And I think it would look awesome. I mean, it's big too. It's like a decently big
10
product.
or 15 inch.
Yeah. It's expensive. It's like $262. But it looks so cool. Let me see if we can play this.
Yeah, there's all sorts of animations and like shapes that you get out of this thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's so cool. Like it's just something cool to have. Again, like for me, for like the background of my YouTube videos, I think it would be super cool. But this is my tech thing that I think
I love that one.
Yeah, would be really, really cool to have and play around with. And again, there's let me go back here. So the 10-inch one is $262. The 15-inch one, which is the really big one, that's $454. And then the stands, I think the stand's like an extra $50. You can get a stand that it kind of sits on and all of that. That's the larger one, but they also have a smaller one. They have the Nano, which isn't as big. It's on back order currently, $169.95, and that's 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch. Super cool. But yeah, that's my tech thing. We'll throw it over to Jim for what he wants for his tech gift.
Yeah, so I got a pair of desk speakers that you don't think are very useful until they're not working right, crackling or they're right, those kinds of things. And so I literally think these Roland speakers I've had for 20 years. And if you touch the power, it just does some weird things. So I've got them I've got them set, just don't touch them. But these edifiers, I've been watching these for a while. They're both Bluetooth, and they have 2 audio inputs to them. So I can put the Mac into it and put the PC into it, so I can share kind of the speakers between the 2 PCs, which is what I want to do. Got some wood grain on it, looks nice, small design. They'd fit underneath my monitors nice. They'd fit my desk motif. $150. Yeah, okay. These are on my list for Christmas for sure. Yeah, nice. I'd love these.
I like the like old school look of those too. And Edifier does make really good audio products.
Yeah, good reviews. And hey, I've had these Rolands for 20 years, I probably paid $150 for them then, which is crazy to think, right?
Yeah.
They've been a great desktop kind of speaker, replacement for remember those crappy PC speakers that we used
Oh
to
yeah,
get?
the ones where anytime you get a phone call, you would know because
they
your
start
speakers
ticking and clicking.
Yeah, your speakers would let you know that you're getting a phone call.
Yeah, no, right
Yeah.
on. So this would be a nice addition. I've got my eyes on these. This is what I'm hoping Santa will bring for sure.
Nice. All right, Ryan, what do you what do you
So if I wouldn't have purchased it ahead of Black Friday, it would have been the 5800X 3D. But I've got that, and as you can see, the price is at $345. So I paid $329. It's already gone up a bit. So something to keep in mind. It's still 23% off, which is a great deal for a processor that's a little more than 6 months old. But since I've got that, I think otherwise it would be a larger internal Gen 4 NVMe drive. So I've been really happy with my Sabrent drive. That's my other Gen 4 drive, but I only bought a terabyte for that one. But I think like a 4 terabyte, I don't think I could do the 8 terabytes for $1,200. But maybe like either a 2 or a 4, or actually I would do two terabytes and replace and get 4 terabytes out of that for $400 instead of a single drive for $600.
2 terabyte for 200 at that speed is a good price.
It's the sweet spot, right? 2 terabytes is a sweet spot right now for NVMe.
I would say 1
so.
terabyte. I think a lot of people are doing one. Because
price wise though, it's another $20.
Yeah, the price wise, it's not all that bad. So
yeah.
But I think that would be it. I'm still running. I have my Gen 4 OS drive. I have another NVMe drive in an M.2 slot, but then I also still have two 2.5-inch SATA SSDs in this build. Right, so if I could get rid of those and replace it with this, that'd probably be what I'd do.
Yeah, that's what, like I said, I went all NVMe on Gen 4 on my new build. There's no way I was doing having any SATA drives in it. I need speed. So, but I wish I could have, higher, like they're all 2 terabyte ones. I wish I had 4s or an 8, an 8 in there, but yeah. All right. Well, that is our tech gifts that we want for stuff that I think one of the best things to get somebody at Christmas time, whether they're your friend, relative, is some tech item, right? We want to get our relatives into tech, or we want to show them the, show your parents, or, what this world of tech is all about. And one piece of tech that I always say is the perfect stocking stuffer, and I actually have one right here because I use it. It's a tile, which, let me try to make myself big. I'll just put it up here because I don't want to. But it's tile, which is a small little device. It's a tracker basically, and but I've had this since before there were Apple AirTags. Everybody's using the AirTags now, so Apple AirTags are kind of like the next generation of this because everybody wants to use Apple things. But what's so great about the tile is it's this little thing. I have it on my keychain here, and I don't know about you, Ryan, but I lose my keys. I put them somewhere. I
don't ever lose any of my stuff, but I did get this for my wife for Christmas 2 years ago.
Okay.
And she used it for a while, and then kind of like she got a new phone and forgot to put the app on, so it's on her keychain but not in use.
But I would say these two, they're very easy to set up. It kind of shows, and it's kind of like a smart home device. It shows somebody who's maybe not that like tech inclined to, like, this is really easy to set up. Like, it's not all that hard. And again, I've used this to find my keys, so you can just like set it. It will make a noise so you find your keys. But also, if you actually lose your keys, say you're traveling somewhere, the way these work and the way the AirTags work as well is that if I lose this in an airport and somebody else who has a tile walks by my keys or whatever, it notifies this tile like where it's at, so you can see where it's at on a map, and it uses like, I guess, like that type of mesh network or however they do it to notify where it's actually at. And then the person who is closest to it will get like a notification in their tile app to like notify you that this is where it's at and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like I said,
cool.
I've used it for a while. Comes in handy, and they're not all that expensive. I don't know how much the AirTags are. if you're an Apple person. So an AirTag, a single one is $29, 4-pack is $99. Tiles, let's see, tile. Oops. Tile.
Yeah, I had to get these for my wife because it was always like, hey, where's it? Hers is the phone, right? We always know where her keys are. They're in her purse, and that's always usually in one spot. But the phone was like, who knows where it's at? And
so
that
what's
mom
nice
brain
about
or what?
The Tiles 2 is there's like a little button on it. And if you double tap that button, it will ring your phone, which is good as well. But yeah, the Tile, just the normal versions are $17.99 on sale right now for a single one. A dual pack of the new Pro is $40, so they're not all that expensive. If you wanted to pick this up, but I think that for me is a really good stocking stuffer for somebody. Kind of gets them into the whole tech realm. We'll go to Jim.
So we used to, when I was a skier years ago, we would sew in earbuds into our helmets so we could plug them into our phones and listen. And then I saw this week as I was looking through this Bluetooth beanie hat that's got the light. I mean, you've seen those YouTubers, right? They got the light, they're wearing the strap. It kind of looks, I mean, you already look like a nerd, but this built into the beanie. And then the beanie's got speakers built in where you put it over your ears, and it's all Bluetooth. Now, I don't know how comfortable this thing is. I haven't tried it yet, but it is a nice outside. It's winter, dark. This would be a nice if you were outside doing some work, light music all together. $20, not bad. Yeah, good stocking stuffer.
Yeah, I like that.
I tore apart a real cheap headset one year to go to Colorado and like fashioned it up to go into the helmet, earpieces, and it was like so much more of a hassle than anything. It was like, this is not the way, but
I think that like with all these things we've come up, there's always like a tech solution to, instead of doing it yourself. Now you can just get that hat, or there's always a solution. Now somebody has created a solution to your problem. So
exactly.
And then Ryan, what do you have? You have a SD card.
I've got two things again, and one of them I thought about when we were talking about my build, so I added it real quick. But the first one is like SD cards, right? I have quite a few of them, but I'm always either shuffling them or I've got them in a bag. I like to keep a couple in my day bag, like in my camera bag, and whether it's a SD card, a full size SD or micro SD, because it's going in the drone or my action camera or just my mirrorless. They're so cheap now, like 120 gig SanDisk Extreme Pro, right? $26 for 128 gigs. And they go on sale all the time, even more than this, at your local Best Buy or wherever. They're just so cheap, and you can just toss them in the stocking.
I almost bought a 512 one the other day.
Yeah. And then I also thought of, and they're that's $100 is probably a little expensive for a stocking stuffer. I think my like price limit on what would go in a stocking is like, $20-25. But a cable mod set of cables for this new build would be
like I said, one of the
you can do individual cables as well, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do the whole pack, so you can lower the price a bit.
If you want to improve the look of your build, one of the easiest things you can do is just get sleeve cable kit. I bought a kit when I did my build, and there's just something, it just looks so much better. And again, with Cable Mod, you can actually create your own cables. Like you can go to their website and design your own cables with the colors that you want, or you can buy pre-packaged ones that Ryan has here. You can buy single cables. The one you had up there for $100 was specifically made for EVGA power supply. So it all connects together there. It's just, I really like. As soon as I got my first sleeve cable, I was like, "There's no."
Just order up a bunch more.
I can't go back because it just makes the simplicity and just makes your build look really awesome inside. So
absolutely.
So that's definitely a good stocking stuffer there. And then the next thing we have on the list, and Jim and I actually have the same one for this because I saw his thing, so we had the same one. I might not be the same configuration, but. If money was no option gift, so if you had unlimited funds, what would you get? And for me and for Jim, we had the same one. So we had the
me.
That's Ryan. Here, what? There we go.
Oh,
It's a Samsung Odyssey
Oh,
Arc.
yeah.
We've talked about this, but my thing. So I wouldn't just get one. I'd get three.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you have unlimited funds.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Of
So you
course
would
you
have
get 3. Yes.
3 like this in a cockpit style, setup here. That's and it would just be right here. It would be amazing. I would, yeah,
It'd be pretty cool.
So yeah,
no, Bob, your thinking is right. What I'm thinking, 3 stacked on the side. There could even be a place where you could get one across the top. So 3, the one across the top. That would be a full heads up mode.
Yeah.
Or put that on the bottom and put the 3 coming off the top. Right. I mean, you've got some options there with it. But God, this is such a sweet monitor. When you guys talked about it last year, I was like, I gotta have one of these. I don't know if I can afford the $2,500, but
I was even for. I mean, 2,500 isn't like for what it is. I don't think it's crazy expensive. But yeah, I mean, you have to go big. You got to get 3 of them.
Yeah,
that's
do 6, stack 3 on top of 3, and just it's curving around you. Yeah,
3 around. Yeah, no, right on. You could do 6
you could. Yeah, you could do 3 and 3 and
2.
Oh yeah.
Like the ultimate productivity setup. It would be.
No, there would be no productivity for me.
I was gonna say I don't know about that.
But. That's why, like, I always think I'm like, should I get another 49 and do like a dual stack 49?
Yes, yeah, you should.
That is coming from Jim, who I think has about a dozen monitors in front of him.
I have 9 on my desk. Yes, I have 9.
Yeah, but I think this is probably one of the coolest products that came out this past year is the Odyssey Arc. It's just it's super cool, and I think these bigger companies are really realizing like what people want as far as like this is like an enthusiast product, right? And like Samsung's a very mainstream company, and I would say that this, it's cool to see them come out with this, right? Because this wouldn't get as much hype if it was some no-name display brand, right?
Probably,
yeah. So yeah, that's me and Jim. Ryan, what do you have?
So since money was no option, I think just reach out to one of our favorite builders, or at least one of mine anyways, and we've shown him off quite a bit over the years, is reach out to Stuart at GGF and say, hey, build me a system. Here's kind of the gist of what I want it to look like, maybe a color scheme or like an industrial look or whatever. Spend what you want. Here's what, maybe a direction, and just go from there and give me something, because
I would say if there was
just awesome.
If there was somebody that I would want to build me a custom water-cooled PC, it would probably be Stuart.
Right.
There's a couple other people that I really enjoy as well, but just like his style, I really
build has me still considering doing this, essentially this exact same thing, right? This Fantex case that expands up and doing a screen in the front, and I don't know if I'd be doing the whole hardline build in it, but this one was just like, I love it. I love every build he does. So yeah, I'd be like, let me just throw money at you and you give me a system.
I have to go up and see him. He just moved back to the United States. He lives decently close to me now. So but yeah, that's actually, I didn't even think about that as like money's no option. I was like thinking like cars. I was thinking, maybe like
that's true. Yeah, cars.
I was thinking like camera stuff maybe, but there's no real camera out that I really, really want. I mean, there's cameras that I'd like, but there's no camera that I like.
I might.
I was keeping it tech.
Since we had the same thing, Bob, I might go with like the Blue Eddy whole home battery setup. I'd probably spend $15,000 on enough batteries, because they've got now a controller and battery packs that you can string together to get exactly what you need. Then put solar panels on the roof, and it's about $20,000.
Like that's like the Tesla.
Power wall.
Well, no, they have the roof too. They have the Tesla roof.
Yeah. And they're doing that new, you get 3,500 cycles on those batteries, whatever that iron phosphorus or whatever it is, that technology that's out. So yeah, that didn't think about that until I saw these builds, and I'm like, these look like the Jackery Power things. Oh, maybe I do a Blue Eddy, so that could be an option too.
Yeah, no, I think Ryan has to speak. As much as I want those displays, I think I'd rather have the fully decked out PC.
Oh, I take the display.
Oh, you take a display?
Hands down. If someone said you get 3 of these, yes, that would be the answer.
That's true. Yeah, like you would. I don't think I would like leave it. Just like sitting there.
Oh, it'd be so great. So great. Yeah.
All right, and our last thing is one non-tech related item, which is very hard because like everything is tech these days, and at least for me, a lot of the stuff that I'm into is tech, right? So mine was travel related. Mine was Priority Pass. If you guys know what that is. Oops, that's Ryan again.
That's IKEA shopping.
Yeah. So mine's Priority Pass, which I'd get like the Prestige. Basically, it gives you access to airport lounges, like the higher end lounges. It's typically $429 a year, but every major airport has lounges where you can use Priority Pass. It would be nice. I only have access to a couple lounges with like the credit card that I have. And I don't really have status on other like the airlines to get into their big lounges, but there's a bunch of Priority Pass lounges that you can get into. I think that'd be just, again, if you guys don't know, like lounges, you don't pay for alcohol, you don't pay for food, you don't pay for any of the snacks or anything like that. It's all provided for you free. So that'd be something cool to have.
Yeah, I mean, if you travel a lot, this would definitely be worth it, I think.
Yeah, makes
a lot of like higher end travel credit cards give you Priority Pass with the membership. The travel card I have is not a super high end one, so I don't get this, but I think that would be cool, at least for me. I think, and again, it was very hard to find something that was non-tech related, because all my things are like, oh, camera, but that's like tech. I can't really, So, Jim, what do you have? You have
I have a Swisher log splitter. Like, it's a 22-ton. And it lays both horizontal and vertical, so you can get big logs in there, split them. If you're doing firewood, we do a lot of fire pit fires outside at our place. So the kids come over, we drink whiskey, smoke cigars, do the fire pit. And this one you can hook up to a trailer. I mean, it is $3,000, but if I could, I mean, non-tech related, if I could swing this, I would. I don't really need it, just to be honest. The runner-up, and this is tech, by the way, Husqvarna automatic.
I looked at one of these one time. Yeah,
yeah, this is tech though. This is super tech, but
yeah,
it's kind of garden tech, so you kind of get away with it. But I have had my eyes. These started really expensive, and they'd be getting cheaper. I think in a couple years they'll be even more cheaper. So
yeah, I think that's just kind of like the robot vacuums. Obviously, mowing grass is a lot different, but those were like super expensive when they came out, and they're really, really cheap now. And I think
very affordable.
You're going to see the same thing with a lot of other automation type robots that are like decently expensive now. In a few years, they're going to be very affordable, which is going to be nice. So, and then Ryan has IKEA.
Yeah. Well, so when was it? Maybe this spring, we bought some new basement furniture, and it was from IKEA, and it was this, and I actually have one of these, but I want another one for at the bottom of the stairs. It's kind of just like because there's a wall right in front of where you end at the bottom of the stairs, and it's just a wall right now, and it needs something there. Like, I'd like to have it there and put, like a nice picture of the family on there, and a light, and just, put some more blankets in there, some board games, or just something there. We need something at the bottom of the stairs. I already have this, and I love it. I have it where it is now, but I'd like another one to go in that section. So I know it's a boring like house thing.
I mean, it's non-tech related. All the cool stuff is tech. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's right.
So well, like I said, that's a good list. That those were our 4 different categories. I don't know if you guys want to include anything else. I'm trying to think. I mean, for me, like I said, my main hobbies are computers and cameras.
Yeah. I've got a non-tech stocking stuffer.
Okay.
That I did get.
Okay.
Do you want me to talk about these now?
Sure.
So
that I bought you. Yeah.
Yeah, because we gotta talk about this too, right?
I totally forgot. It's a stocking stuffer. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually like a really good stocking stuffer. So I had a package
let's preface it by One, so after this, we're gonna play video games. This Wednesday, it's gaming night, and Ryan runs this stream, right? So Ryan runs the stream, so it's his face gaming, and he's stuffing his face with food, and every time it's always Oreos. So Ryan's always eating Oreos, so that's why I got him this gift.
So yeah, so I had a package on the porch. It was this weekend, I think, and I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'll get it in a minute. And so I finally went out there and got it, and it had my name on it. And I was like, I don't remember ordering anything. I already got my CPU. I don't, it's too small to be this review product that I think is incoming or possibly on its way. So I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm just going to open it up. I don't recognize the name on it or anything. And as I'm opening it up, it pops out, and I'm just going to slow roll this. So it's Oreo with my face on the Oreos. So these are the Oreo ID, and you can get them in a 4. I think you can get some singles, but you can definitely get a 4-pack, and you can put a custom image on them, as Bob did and sent to me. So
that's an awesome image. I think these would be a good image.
Yeah, sure, it's great.
Like take one out and show everybody the image.
Yeah. So I haven't even opened it up. He was like, oh, hey, save those for the podcast on Wednesday. And I was like, oh, it's too late. I already ate them. But of course I hadn't, because I knew he would want to probably show these. So let's see here. Slides out. And these are like fancy Oreos as well. They have a couple options, because I went and looked at them later on. But yeah, so they're like,
best picture right there.
They are frosted and then like coated in sprinkles.
That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
So I didn't have that many pictures of Ryan, and that
you
was
can eat
like
that.
I'm gonna try it right now, I think.
All right,
so
okay. They look super thick. Pretty good.
It is.
So in order to get like your custom
it's
image,
got blue frosting in it too.
Yeah, blue. Yeah, I got I did like the ThinkComputers colors, the blue and the white.
Yeah.
And then in order for them to put an actual image on the Oreo, they have to put a coating on it. So it's like a cream coating that's on the top. Are they good though?
Yeah.
Nice.
It is.
Yeah. That was what I got Ryan for.
Good
They're
job,
like
Bob.
priced.
Nice job.
They're priced to be a really good stocking stuffer. So they're cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Well, gotta feed you these days. So, before we get out of here, talking about what we have coming up next week, I have a really cool keyboard. If you're into Lord of the Rings, this is a super sweet keyboard. So this is the Drop Lord of the Rings Elvish keyboard. Of course, obviously fashioned after Lord of the Rings, mechanical keyboard. It looks like these pictures don't do it justice. I should have brought it. I have it over here. It's a really awesome TKL keyboard. You get some optional keycaps, which you can see here. All of like the Lord of the Rings lettering and everything like that. But don't worry, because they actually have the dual legends, so you can actually see what you're typing on there. This is the green one. Then there's the Dwarvish one, which they have, which is more gray, but it's a really nice keyboard too. It's not like just, oh, we have these cool keycaps, like really solid made keyboard, metal chassis. Like it's really nice. And I think
they have an Orcish one too, right? Or not Orcish.
They have a dwarf one.
Dwarvish, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if they have the Dwarvish one, but they have a bunch. But really cool. Like I said, really, if you're into Lord of the Rings, I think this will be your thing. If you're not, it's still a solid keyboard. It's a very well made mechanical keyboard. So I'll be taking a look at that, and then I'll also be taking a look at what's sitting in front of me. You can kind of see some of it. You can see a little bit of it over here. It's this desk. It is the FlexiSpot E7, which is their Pro Plus desk here. And again, you can completely configure this. I configured mine. Got the bamboo top, very, very long. It has the curve in the front here. Like, we'll talk about it in the review. But Ryan reviewed a FlexiSpot desk. Of course, it's a sit-stand desk, which is really good because as you get older, you want to move around. You don't want to be sitting. So yeah, so I'll be taking a look at the desk and telling you guys all about it, because like I said, I really like this desk. I didn't initially think I liked it at first. Ryan and I talked about that, but after I finally got everything set up, it was, yeah, I do really like it, and I like the kind of contrast it gives. Like if you it's kind of hard to see, but like just the contrast of the color with the desk compared to the white that I had, I think it looks really good. So we'll be
And so I've
talking
noticed
about
like I have a white tabletop on my desk, and it gets dirty sometimes,
that.
or like
Yeah,
something
that
stuffs
too.
on it, and it takes work. That bamboo top that I have on the other one, you just don't notice it quite as much, and it's a really nice hard, surface, a little more sustainable too than some other materials.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said, I'm happy with it, and I'll be telling you guys about that next week. So yeah, guys, we are going to get out of here. Of course, you guys, if you want to, you can check out Jim. What do you guys, every Thursday?
Yeah, every Thursday, kind of similar time. We're 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern.
Okay.
TheAverageGuy.tv/live.
/live, yeah. Check out Jim. He talks about all different kinds of stuff, which I think is really cool. Sometimes he gets into the PC hardware. Sometimes he does, home automation, other type of tech stuff. He has some really interesting people on as well. I've gone back. Well, the one guy you have, the small form factor build guy, was really interesting that you had on there.
Jay Madison.
Yeah.
He's a great YouTube channel for that. He is the neatest guy that I know. Like everything is clean and tight, and he does some good work. He's on YouTube and does some really cool builds.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you being on here, Jim. It's always good to talk. We like I said, we have Jim on a couple times a year.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and thanks for you guys coming on my show. I mean, we'll probably do this again as I get my build put together. I'll be back on. We'll talk.
Yeah, we got to make sure, and we do it. Hopefully, we don't get any crazy text messages like that Ryan was sending me that something didn't work, or
it's all together. It's about optimization now. I'm going to ask you guys. Okay, I've got this build. How do I know I built it right? And how do I optimize it? So we'll probably spend some time talking to you guys about that.
Nice. And then real quick in the chat talking about what we want for Christmas. Where is there he is. Old man says he wants a 2023 Corvette Z06 for his money is no option. And he said he wants a new garage to put it in as well. I mean, I was thinking cars. I was like, oh well, it'd be nice to have I was thinking something that's semi more practical, even though money was no option, but that was his. He also let us know about the games that are free on Epic starting tomorrow. Saints Row as well as Wildcat Gun Machine are free on Epic tomorrow. So if you guys want to check those out, of course, that's the only reason we have the Epic Game Store installed, is just to get the free games. We don't really play them. We just go ahead and get the free games. So we are going to move over to Twitch now. Of course, Ryan will have that stream up, eating his Oreos like always.
That's right.
Twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. We appreciate everybody who is here in the live stream, and of course, everybody that listens later. And again, we thank Jim for coming on, and we'll see everybody next week.